Hello, fellow Whovians. Today's Mark Who 42's Whoniverse is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/MarkWho42. There are over 150,000 titles to choose from, including over 250 Doctor Who titles for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker, known to many of you as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Mark Who 42 Whoniverse.
Welcome to Mark Who 42's Whoniverse, Doctor Who Whoniverse, that is. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. Hey guys, how you doing? And with me, as always, are
trish-helm,
Eduardo-m-freyre,
and Christian-basel, or titled Whovian sitting on a couch watching a Doctor Who marathon.
Oh, did you just make that up? That was good, Christian.
That's for my
titled.
new Facebook site.
You're a titled Whovian.
I am titled.
Titled Whovian.
Oh,
Can
I be an entitled Whovian?
You're entitled.
I'm entitled. Yeah.
You're entitled to be a Whovian.
I'm entitled to be a. Yeah, there you go. I'm entitled to be a Whovian. I'm the entitled Whovian.
You know what? I'm getting ready to inspect something here.
Oh God.
Okay.
So that was so not a hint.
What hint? What hint? I'm not doing any hints. You know what? Let's skip all these hints or whatever he's talking about. I don't know. You know, I mean, if I want to talk to a friend of mine named Travis Richey, who I've never met before, but I'm going to be good friends with, we can do that later. But first,
let's skip Mark's remarks and let's go to the Doctor Who news with our Doctor Who correspondent, Patricia Helm. Patricia, what Doctor Who news do we have this week?
Well, I guess the biggest news of the week is they announced that another companion is going to be joining the TARDIS, or at least they think that he's probably going to be joining the TARDIS. So far, he's only
Thank you, Stephen Moffat. Thank you for hiring me. Thank you.
Yes, Christian-basel is the new companion on Doctor Who.
Although I don't like, just like the kidneys, I don't like the color. Can I go from pink to like blue?
Yeah, your name, no, you've got to be Pink. You're Mr. Pink. If we go to Reservoir Dogs, you're Mr. Pink.
Great, you get to be Steve Buscemi. Nice.
Yeah.
You got the crazy eyes going
They
on.
look alike. They look alike already.
Well, then I get to be Harvey Keitel because he's awesome.
So who is this Pink guy?
So he's played by Samuel Anderson, who he was in Gavin and Stacey, The History Boys, and Emmerdale.
Oh, okay.
And they call him a recurring character right now, so we're not quite sure what that means, because River's song is a recurring character, but she doesn't show up all the time, and
when Rory started out, he was just a recurring character.
Exactly. But the character of Danny Pink, he is a teacher at the Coal Hill School where Clara teaches.
Does that mean his boss is Ian Chesterton?
Yep. So we got
most likely
going back to type of Ian and Barbara.
His new name, that instead of Danny Pink, we call him title reoccurring character with funny last name traveling through time.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. When I heard the name, I'm like, did they pick him up? Did they pick him up from the cast of Goodfellas? I mean, did they pick him up from like the Sopranos? Did they go to the Sopranos, New Jersey? I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of picturing, hey, my name is Danny Pink. Hey, what is this? It's bigger on the inside. hey, you, the salt shaker with the laser gun. Don't you point that at me. We're going to start something, you and me, okay? Don't give me that exterminate. Hey, I'm going to come over there. You're going to regret it.
I regret it already.
Yeah.
He's not going to be much of a recurring character after that.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
They'll kill him. Bring him back.
If he was really an Italian, I mean, get him a baseball bat. Get him something to swing with. You'll have Dalek shells. You'll have Dalek shells all over the place. Going, hey, all right, who else wants some? Okay, yeah, who else wants some? Come on, bring it on.
Oh, so I get it, reoccurring character. So he's like Clara and Rory. They kill him off in episode 2, bring him back in 3, kill him off in 4, bring him back in 7. He's plastic. He's made of Roman. Hey, I like this. We got to follow the Moffat trail. We got to follow the trail.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, he'll die in his first episode and, come back and, we'll find out he dropped into the Doctor's time stream or something. I don't know.
Actually, I think they
Now-
should. Claire and he should take turns dying off on other and coming back on different episodes.
Oh, jeez.
I approve of this.
Now,
A
Moffat,
candy couple.
Moffat has emphasized that the how and why he joins up with the Doctor and Clara is going to be interesting. And yeah, so I hope so because I don't want another Mickey.
Why not? Mickey, I like Ricky. Ricky was nice.
That's Mickey.
Oh, no, it was Ricky, wasn't it?
But there can
It's Mickey.
the
Okay.
Doctor can only have so many tin dogs.
I saw online someone had taken his name, Danny Pink, because Pink's kind of an interesting last name, and they had ran his name and through like a word generator to see if it comes up with anything interesting,
Oh, no.
and they can't find anything. So they're
Oh.
nothing hidden in his name so far, and someone had even suggested that maybe, because some people are saying, oh, he's going to be like a love interest for Clara. And some people are like, well, he could be gay for all we know. There might still not be, a love interest going on here.
Yeah.
It could just be a new character.
Well, it was interesting. If anyone saw the footage that I posted to the Facebook page that they were shooting the other day, it looked like they were shooting scenes of the Doctor telling Clara to go somewhere, and then there was a scene of this Danny Pink walking into a restaurant and Clara walking in after him and then walking out purposefully. So it's like the Doctor wants her to be involved with this guy.
So
And
what
he
you're
was
saying? So
and
what
he
you're
was
saying?
wearing a pink shirt.
Oh.
I'm saying there's prostitution involved. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Oh, and there's the explicit tag. Oh.
Yeah, that was you. That was you
Oh.
today, Mark. That
That
was
was
you.
me. I'm
Jeez,
just so
Mark.
excited that we've got Travis coming that I just cannot stop being like an idiot. I don't
So
know.
much for the surprise special guest.
There's no
Yeah.
surprises. They can read it on the
Yeah.
screen.
That's
When they
true.
go to the page, we're gonna write, "Hey, and this guy's we have a surprise guest going to be on the show." Who's gonna watch that or listen
Yeah.
to that? No.
Could have been Booth.
Well, we
Booth's
might
on there.
have Mayim Bialak on the show if we're lucky.
Mayim Bialik.
I beg your pardon?
Thank you for Mayim Bialek.
That's you.
Yes.
Okay, see, if I had said that wrong with Travis here, that would have been a problem. But I'm learning, Mayim. I'm learning. Can I just call you Amy Farrah Fowler for a moment? Can I just call you Blossom
Oh,
for a moment?
God.
Those are easier
Oh,
to
Is he
name.
stalk-
God.
Are
Those
you
are
trying to
easier
stalk
names.
potential guests here, Mark?
No.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I just would
Don't
like
do
to
that.
find out who the bioorganic omnidirectional time helix is, and maybe we can
God,
ask Travis about her.
If I next time I come to your house for dinner, if I find a room like where the walls are covered in like Blossom and Amy Farrah Fowler pictures, I'm gonna have to walk out. I swear to God, this is. Oh God.
Don't tell me you don't want that room.
He's gonna. Mark's gonna come out of the house. He's gonna have himself all dressed up like Sheldon, and be like, "I want to show you my Amy room."
I swear it's gonna be. He's got Ace on one side and Mayim on the other.
That's his Hunger Games fantasy: Ace versus Amy. Who will fight for my love?
Wow.
Oh
This
my
is really
Oh well,
spun out of
Mayim just
control.
ran out of the
Oh
room.
my God, we've lost our show. Our show has been lost.
Well,
Normally,
let's get it back here.
let's
Let's
try
get it
to
back
read
here.
it.
Yeah, back to the news.
Okay.
Let's
So
go
back
back
to since we're talking about the new companion and everything, here's a couple of rumors going around about some of the upcoming episodes in series 8. Well, Danny Pink is supposed to come in the 4th episode, is what they're saying.
Right.
And now there's also a rumor going around that the 12th Doctor is going to be fighting the Daleks in episode 2. And some people are saying, well, we just had the Daleks in the 50th and in the Christmas special. Why are we still getting the Daleks?
Wait a minute. Wasn't Stephen Moffat the one who said that the Daleks needed a break? Didn't he
Yeah.
just say that last year?
Yeah,
Or
he
Yes.
said that.
we
So we can
reported that on
overuse
our
them
show.
for this season.
Well,
Well, apparently Peter Capaldi wants to, he wants to fight the Daleks because he's such a big Doctor Who fan. But do they have to do it in episode 2?
Well, that's what they did in the original show. The second story was the introduction of the Daleks, and it's what made the show a hit. So they're saying, if Peter can't do it in his first episode, let's hit him with the Daleks.
Here's the other thing, because if Stephen Moffat wants to give the Daleks a break, who's to say that in episode 2 there won't be something that maybe will cause the Daleks to kind of go away for a while.
Mm.
Maybe set up for them to kind of take a break.
Well, but the break was supposed to be after victory of the Daleks, and there was a short break, but it's still they're coming around a lot.
Well, it starts to kind of be like with Next Generation when every year you had to have a Q episode.
Yeah, what was that? Oh, I know. It was to give John Delancey a retirement fund. Yes.
Ouch.
No,
Really?
I like John Delancey. He's a great guy. I
Quick
think
reversal,
John Delancey
quick
should
reversal.
I think
Backpedal,
John should be on
backpedal.
our show.
The more
I
we
think
go
should-
on with the show, the less guests we're apparently going to have in the future.
Well,
Hey, I'm not a brony.
fortunately, John
I-
Delancey has
I-
never done Doctor Who, so it's not like we have to worry.
I'm not a brony, so I'm not.
He's not going to do this podcast. Sure.
Oh.
Now, there's also a rumor going around that Mark Gatiss is writing a story with the Ice Warriors.
Okay.
That he's going to bring them back. And then there's also rumors going around that the Master is going to show up and that he's going to actually be a major part of this next series.
Okay.
Whether or not any of that's true, I don't know.
Well, that would be cool.
Well, no, I keep hearing that the Master, next time we see the Master, he's going to we're going to have a new Master.
Yeah. John Sim doesn't want to do it again, as far as I know.
I keep hearing back and forth that either A, when the Master shows up, he'll be regenerated already, or that we'll get one more shot by Sims so that we can have the regeneration.
Ah.
Great. So we're expecting in Series 4, they changed his last name from Saxon to Pink. Vote Pink.
Oh, you did.
Ooh,
That would be interesting. Very interesting. Danny Pink is the master.
Hey, there you go.
Does that spell out to be Master 7 or something?
If the Jersey thing were true, hey, a Jersey style Master. Hey, peoples of the universe. Hey, listen up.
What? Do we have John Travolta on the show now? I mean, really? Did I just cut someone else down? I'm sorry. Now John Travolta's
Wow.
never going to do the show.
Wow. Well,
No one is going to do the show.
yeah.
I'm not going to do the show either. Bye.
No, Peter, we love you. Peter, we love you. But come back, Peter.
Oh,
Come back,
whatever.
Peter, we'll give you money. Come here.
You see what you done with that Blossom chick? It's not good.
No, okay, I'll stay away from her.
She's a vegetarian.
Yeah, I know. She's a vegan.
Can't take her out for burgers.
Well, see, that would.
Can't take her out for burgers. Can't take her out for fish. She's vegan. Okay, so burgers, fish, chicken.
Yeah, but I think she has a family. I don't think there's any point.
Well, she and her husband just split up, so. Yeah.
See, you just gave me room to move here. What's going on
Oh.
here?
Well, hey,
Like I
you're
said,
involved with someone, so
I
you
am.
need to back off.
I'm backing off.
Which, by the way, hey Randy, how you doing?
She's doing
How you
fine.
doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, and now you're answering for okay. Okay, I see. Okay, you're gonna answer for your lady. Okay, all right. I see how it is. I see how it is.
Oh,
I see how it is.
yeah. That's how it is. That's exactly
Anyway,
how it
back
is.
to the news.
Back to the news. Please.
Get back here.
Please.
Let's go back to
So
the news.
there's also another director has been announced that's going
Oh.
to be directing one or two episodes of the next series.
Peter Jackson.
No, he's still in the rumors.
Ah!
But still, it says that it's still getting serious. The talks with Peter Jackson.
Ugh.
So we can just hope. Okay, so the new director is Paul Wilmshurst, and he is known for doing the action series Strike Back and the historical fantasy drama Da Vinci's Demons. Apparently, those are pretty popular in the UK,
Right.
and they say that those two shows are a good mix for Doctor Who. New Blood is good, I think.
Okay.
Maybe get some new stuff going on.
Both Strike Back and Da Vinci's Demons have been making the runs in the pay cable channels. Strike Back on Cinemax and Da Vinci's Demons on Stars. So,
Okay.
makes you
Then
wonder what he brings to the mix.
Did you guys see it's been 2 weeks since we've done a show, but did you guys see the images of Karen Gillan as Nebula?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's freaky looking.
Yeah. Wow.
She's freaky looking.
Yeah, no. The minute that they showed off the full teaser trailer, and I saw Nebula, I'm like, oh my god. That also confirms a theory that I had, which is when they announced that's who she's playing, and she saw that we saw that she had her head shaved. I thought, oh, are they going to go the cybernetic route? And yep, there we go, clear as day. There she is, bald head, cybernetic piece over part of her face,
And still not ginger.
Yeah.
Well, she had to lose her head to get the cyborg parts, so I don't know. Who knows what she had before? Gotta say though, I'm looking forward to. It looks, judging by the previews, it looks like she has a throwdown versus Zoe Saldana's Gamora. So looking forward to that.
Does Nebula have a Scottish accent? I'm just saying.
See, I don't, who knows? Because I mean,
It's a
since
comic book. Yeah, it's from a
yeah,
comic
so I
book.
mean, I don't know if she'll use her Scottish accent or if she'll just or if she'll try to like neutralize her accent. Who knows? I'm wondering if they go with her backstory because she's supposed to be in the comics. She's supposed to be the granddaughter
Right.
of Thanos, and
Yes.
Thanos is supposed to be the big bad for Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of
Mhm.
controlling everything. So I don't know.
I didn't see Thor 2 yet with Eccleston, but Mark, did you mention that they dubbed out his voice so he can't?
The voice, Christopher Eccleston's voice is so treated. It's hard to distinguish that it's really him. It does sound like him a little.
No, I was able to tell it was Eccleston. Part of it is that yeah, they gave it a little bit of a treat.
It was treated a lot.
Also, I mean, a part of it is he's speaking. He's supposed to be speaking like Dark Elf or something.
Well, yeah. Well,
Part of
yes,
it, so.
exactly.
So yeah, so that may also kind of.
And the makeup it's a great makeup job, but it also covers a lot of his features. It almost could have been played by anyone else.
Well, the makeup and the voice, I have no problems with. I just think it was the writing that they kind of they needed to give him a little more something to do. They were kind of they were kind of too focused on, hey kids, it's Loki from Avengers. Remember how cool he was? Look, here he is more in the movie.
Did you guys see the release that Titan Comics made about the new comic books that are coming out featuring the 10th and 11th Doctors?
Yes, I did. I think it's great. I'm amazed that they're going to have an ongoing 10th Doctor series, even an 11th Doctor series when there's going to be a 12th Doctor. But it's great marketing because they will sell.
Trish, we were talking about that the other day, weren't we?
Mark's right. It's going to sell. Anything about the 10th and 11th Doctors will probably sell. It comes out on July 23rd.
Okay. Oh, right. A week after my birthday. And you know what? They're saying that the new series is going to start at the end of the summer. And remember that we said the other week that there was a slip that it might be coming out in July. If it came out the weekend before that or the weekend after that, that's totally great marketing.
Even if it doesn't come out in July to time with your birthday, Mark, at least you do get the birthday present in the sense that the new comics are coming out. But when Trish and I were talking, we were talking about how it's interesting that they're going with 10 and 11 and they're not doing anything with 12 yet. Then again,
we don't know anything about 12 yet, so how can they write one?
Well, and plus you have to wonder how much contact does Titan have with the BBC? How much are they working together? Because it might be that they don't have anything set up yet, or it may be that they are trying to set up a 12th Doctor comic series. They're just waiting until.
I'm sure they're setting up a 12th Doctor series. I'm sure they are waiting until it hits, but they've got to put out a comic, and having both the 11th and 10th Doctors concurrently is pretty cool.
I'm kind of disappointed that there's nothing with the classic Doctors.
The classic Doctors probably don't sell as well. I mean, I know there's a lot of classic fans out there, but if they're trying to gear more towards the younger generations, it's going to be 10 and 11.
Although it would be kind of cool to tie in with the 50th anniversary if they had like a War Doctor comic or maybe even an 8th comic, since they were a huge part of the 50th anniversary celebration. So. And who knows? Maybe they still have that in mind. They just, they wanted to come out of the gate swinging, so they picked 10 and 11.
Speaking of the 50th, did you guys know that there is going to be a Doctor Who 50th Anniversary Collector's Edition DVD coming out? I just heard about this. I'm glad I didn't buy the the original one yet.
Take my money. Take my money. Take my money.
There's no word yet when this is going to be released. I looked on both the American Amazon and the UK Amazon. Nothing yet on this, but it's going to include the 2 introductions shown in the movie theaters.
Oh yeah, those were funny.
Those were funny. Then there's also a deleted scene that they're putting in that's 33 seconds long, but it doesn't say what that is. And a couple of the special features that are going to be on there is Doctor Who: The Ultimate Guide.
Oh, that was great.
A 2-hour
documentary
about that.
That was great. I saw that on the BBC. That was great.
And then also the Science of Doctor Who with the Professor Brian Cox.
Do we know if the 5-ish Doctor reboot is going to be on
It
there?
didn't say. I was really hoping that it was going to say that on there, but it didn't. But it just says that there's a number of extra features, but those are the only two they mentioned in that article. So, but we can hope.
That's probably coming out with the revisited bonus pack with the chosen Sylvester McCoy, Colin Baker, or Peter Davison shirts that they were wearing, signed and autographed by them.
I'd buy that for $1.
I'm just saying.
I wonder if the 50th, the collector's edition, I wonder if it'll come in a box that looks like the moment.
Oh, jeez.
Well, they did release the Avengers with the Tesseract, didn't they?
Uh-huh. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking
That'd
of.
be cool.
You know, I'd pay real money if I got that and I sat down, pushed a button, and Billy Piper's sitting in my living room. That would be awesome.
Would your wife like that too, Christian?
She'll adapt.
I'm just wondering. Maybe,
hey, you know what? Maybe it's only hardwired into the person that pushes the button, and she probably won't be able to see her.
Oh my.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, but what happens if it's hardwired to the person who pushes the button? You know, maybe it won't be Billy Piper. Maybe it'll be, you know, he keeps doing the oh my. Maybe it'll end up being George Takei.
Oh my.
I'll adapt.
Greetings, Christian-basel. I'm the moment. Oh my.
Oh my.
Were you expecting maybe someone else?
I don't think George Takei is going to do our show anymore either. I think we've lost him.
Well, we lost him after the first oh my.
Oh no, I think he liked that one. He enjoyed that one. He didn't enjoy this one.
Oh, okay. So now you claim to know how George Takei is thinking. Okay.
I told you, we're not getting him. It doesn't matter. No. I'm sorry, George. I love your work.
Nice meeting you at SuperCon last year, by the way.
It was nice meeting you.
Trish and I love the autograph, the picture you signed.
Aww.
And now we got.
I saw a story about the possibility of getting some Doctor Who Legos.
Legos, yes.
Now, the official Lego, is it pronounced Kuso site? It's spelled C-U-U-S, and it says OO here, but I went onto the site and it looked like more of like an infinity sign instead of OO. So I'm not sure. Either way, it's a site where you can submit your ideas for Lego sets, and up until just this month, or last month, February, since we're March 1st, you couldn't submit Doctor Who because of licensing conflicts. But then they now have listed on their site, it says that Doctor Who they've resolved the licensing conflicts, and now you're free to submit Doctor Who ideas.
Wow.
So it doesn't mean that Lego will definitely going to do Doctor Who, but now it doesn't mean it's not impossible.
All right. Excellent.
And if that's true, I want a Doctor Who Lego video game.
Oh, nice.
Oh God.
And a Doctor Who Lego movie?
Yeah.
Oh, Doctor.
All that.
Oh man.
The next Lego movie has Doctor Who instead of Batman.
No, to me, it's. I know that there's a Lego-esque. There's like a Lego-esque toys for Doctor Who. I forget the company, but I know it's not Lego itself, and I just know, is Lego going to do the same thing they did and have something totally wrong, like the cyber conversion set? I still can't get over that. You have this kitty-like Lego thing, and it's like the cyber conversion set. Hey kids, take your toys and turn them into soulless automatons. It's fun. It's fun to strip them of all human emotion. Yeah.
And buy the new companion, Amy.
That's the regular.
Leela.
That's the underground toys. That's underground toys.
Oh,
that's something different. That's something different. Although, hey, Legos doing a regeneration scene would just be a snap. You take your fourth Doctor figure, you pop the head out, you pop the Peter Davidson head in. He regenerated! Oh my God, he regenerated!
Decapitating doctors. This is awesome. And you know how Doctor Who has supposedly brought nightmares to children throughout the time. Now they're going to bring nightmares to adults as they're walking around aimlessly at 3 a.m. in the dark with the Legos all scattered around the living room. They're trying to walk for that midnight snack. They're going to hate Doctor Who for this now. That's just great. We've ruined it for the adults now.
It would be so fun if all the little Doctor heads all came in little boxes like the Headless Monkey.
Oh,
Oh God. Oh man.
The Dorium one is just a
Yeah.
little blue egg.
Just a head in a box.
That's it. Hi, Simon. How you doing?
We love you,
Oh.
Simon. We want you back.
We want you back, Simon.
Here's a little news story that's actually more for our friends down under in
Ooh,
Australia.
living in the
They
land
were
down under.
Yeah, they were going to have
Hi.
a big convention called the Hooniverse,
Mhm.
and they
They
unfortunately,
stole our name, by the way.
yeah,
No.
because we own that, don't we?
Yeah, we own it. Well, they're in Australia, so they have a different copyright law there. I don't know.
Well, I mean, hey, wasn't Australia founded by criminals? So there you go.
Oh, now we've
Oh.
lost everyone in Australia.
Great. We lost an
Oh.
entire continent. Thank you.
Hey, I'm asking a history
We got
question
6
here,
left.
okay? I'm asking a history question here, all right? Look up world history, okay?
Maybe the International Space Station if we're lucky.
Sorry, Mr. Lofthausen. It was your birthday recently, and now we've taken your
Happy birthday, Adam.
No, actually, he's in New Zealand, isn't he? Yeah, so it's different.
Anyway,
Difference.
it was supposed to be over the next 2 weeks, and Matt Smith, Karen Gillan, and Arthur Darville were all supposed to be there. Well, Karen had to pull out of it last week, and then Matt Smith had to cancel the other day because of a personal family emergency.
Oh.
They haven't said what that emergency is, but he's not able to leave the UK right now because of whatever's going on. And apparently Arthur Darville wasn't enough for them to keep the convention going, so they ended up canceling it, and they're going to try to refund everybody's tickets, and they're going to try to set it up again at a later time.
I would have gone.
I would have went for Arthur. I met Arthur at Hurricane Who a couple of years ago.
Poor Rory, man. I mean, no, he doesn't get any respect, and now it's like, oh, sorry, we can't do an entire convention with just Rory. I mean, come on, poor guy.
They should have just
Poor
changed the
guy.
name to the Doctor Who Broadchurch Convention.
Yeah.
And expanded on it.
There you go. See, exactly. There you go. Problem solved. Make it Doctor Who and Broadchurch. Could have had people cosplaying as David Tennant with a 5 o'clock shadow.
I bet we see those. I bet we do. Now, I have one more story.
Okay.
I've kind of saved this one to the end because this is something that I just recently saw, and I didn't see it on Doctor Who TV. I didn't see it on any other really big Doctor Who page. This is actually from a page called asianimage.co.uk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is not an official Doctor Who thing. It's an indie project, but apparently they're going to make a pilot for a show that's going to be a Doctor Who prequel, and it's going to be called A Wild Endeavour. And this British actor, I think his name is pronounced Rahul Kohli.
Right.
He's Asian, and he has been cast as the Doctor.
Hmm.
Or not as the Doctor. He's been cast to star in this. But this tells the story of the Doctor and the Master before they went on their divergent life paths, when they were still friends on Gallifrey. And apparently we don't know which man is going to be the Doctor and which man is going to be the Master.
Okay. This is interesting news.
And even the actor, Rahul, he doesn't even know who he's playing. He says that the cast is kept in the dark as well.
Wow.
Huh.
They're going to find out.
This is like an independent. This is kind of like an independent project, like a fan project.
Yep. Yes.
Okay.
Huh.
Wasn't this originally the Sons of project that got switched at the last minute?
Yeah. Well, I know that they wanted to do this prequel thing, but then it ended up doing the Sarah Jane Adventures instead. But it says they're going to be very careful about not to contradict storylines.
Mm-hmm.
They're also going to take into account the novels as well. They want to stay true to Doctor Who. And they say the story focuses on the Master as much as it does on the Doctor. It says that in their youth, both the Doctor and the Master were very much aware of the corruption that had enveloped their government.
Mm-hmm.
The Master was more of a moral conscious at the time. The question we also look to answer is, how does the Master descend into the megalomaniac we're more familiar with?
Well, that sounds interesting. I
looked at
would
the
like to see
Tempered
that.
Schism. I thought that's where we all started.
It says that they've talked to some fans, and some fans are really excited about it. But, considering that it's not BBC,
right?
I don't know.
Well, there are some fan productions, not the BBC, that have gone on and have done well, and there are some that are being done now, and that's a little another plug for Travis here. Just wanted to let you guys know that for you, the listeners of Mark Who 42's Hooniverse podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. They've got Doctor Who audiobooks, and Ed, I understand that you have downloaded a Doctor Who audiobook.
Yeah, I downloaded the short story from the 11 Doctors 11 Stories anthology. I downloaded the fourth Doctor story. I listened to it, loved it. Very interesting hearing Ace narrate a fourth Doctor story.
Wow.
Never thought I'd be in that. I think Trish, didn't you download as well?
I did. I downloaded the short stories, the 11 short stories. I tried to listen to one, but I haven't really had much of a chance to get into it yet.
Trish, you're going to enjoy them, so you should listen to them. And for you at home, if you'd like to download your free audiobook today, like a Doctor Who audiobook, go to audibletrial.com/markwho42. Again, that's audibletrial.com/markwho42 for your free audiobook and 30-day trial. Oh boy, guys, we got a great show. I mean, the news was great. We got some interesting news, but coming up in just after these following commercial breaks, we're gonna have what? What are we having, guys?
More restraining orders from celebrities that don't want Mark anywhere near them?
Yes, this titled podcast with four people who really need to get a life is going to interview someone from the Untitled web series about a space traveler who can also travel through time, Travis Richey, the inspector himself. If you've seen Community, if you've watched the web episodes, you've got to be here for this interview. We will be right back.
Time to flee.
Isn't it fled?
No, it's flee.
Oh, okay. So they haven't fled yet.
Where's that? That's something on a dog.
Is it flu?
Well, a flea is on
flu?
the dog. Flu? It might be flu.
No?
The flu.
Well, we'll
fled.
find out. We'll find out right after.
Flea fled, flew from. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
We'll find out right after these messages.
Hello, nurses and friends of nurses. Yakko Warner here, and you're listening to a podcast on the Geekcast Radio Network. Lucky you.
The voice of Christian-Basel, take one.
Hi, I'm Christian-Basel, and I would like to provide my voice for all your voiceover needs, such as...
Okay, like an announcer.
Like a what?
Like an announcer.
For all your voiceover needs, such as animation, radio, announcements, introductions...
Now an old man.
I can even record voicemail for all the Meshuggahs that call you.
A pirate.
Arr, and it won't cost you a lot of treasure for me services. Arr.
Creepy movie voice.
Just call 407-761-2679. 407-761-2679. Or email voiceofchristian-basel@yahoo.com. Well, how was that?
That's a wrap.
The Pull Bag is the GCRN's place for everything you need in the comic book world. We focus on new and current comics, while also tackling a few back issues here and there. So join the entire GCRN crew and see what issues the hosts have with today's panels. You can find the Pull Bag on iTunes and geekcastradio.com. Make your great escape into comics.
Kid? Yes? Shut up.
Beyond the Night is the GCRN's latest review podcast. We are covering everything in the Knight Rider television universe, from the classic 80s TV series to the 1991 reunion film, Team Knight Rider, and the 2008 relaunch series as well. So join TFG and Mike and Dion the Music Man as they go in-depth in Beyond the Night, only on Geekcast Radio Network. You can find Beyond the Night in iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com.
Kid?
Yes, Michael.
Just keep driving.
Welcome back to Mark Who 42's Hooniverse, Doctor Who Hooniverse, that is. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and with me are Trish-helm, Eduardo-m-Freyre, and Christian-basel. And special guest, just to let you guys know, it's time for a little inspectortainment. Here he is, the inspector himself, Travis Richey.
Oh, hey there. I knew not to count 2 and 1. That's how professional I am on the countdown. I've seen Wayne's World.
Really say
Inspector-tainment?
Inspector-tainment?
Inspector-tainment. I mean,
That's it.
we invite this guy on our show. First thing he comes in, you give him a bad pun.
It's not my line.
That's an existing pun that the Inspectrum has come up with.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are so unhip.
Yeah, seriously. You're obviously not in spectators.
No.
Is that what your fans are?
Yeah, apparently. I didn't make it. You know, and that's the best thing about.
That's actually kind of clever. I like
this
that.
whole Inspector-Spacetime fandom is my favorite thing about it is that I haven't had to like. I don't know. You watch YouTubers and they all call their fans a certain name, whatever, and I always hate that because it's like, don't name us. Let us name us if we want to. But the spectators have all kind of built this whole universe themselves, and I just kind of am along for the ride.
To start off this little interview, can you tell us a little about yourself? Where'd you grow up?
Well, I was born a small, poor black girl in
Mississippi. Yeah, it's the jerk. We have the jerk on our show. Thank you.
Nice. You guys are
Hey. This is how we introduce new guests, really?
I told you, we're not going to get any more guests. It's all my fault. I'm blowing it this episode. I've been doing it all episode.
You should have.
George Takei isn't coming on our show now. Who else? Who else did I offend?
Travis, you didn't see the stuff of the news that we did beforehand, but right now we're down to 6 continents that we haven't insulted yet.
I didn't insult Australia. I did not insult Australia. That was Ed.
No, that was
6 continents.
Hey, I was just quoting history, man. I was quoting history. I was quoting history.
He called them a bunch of criminals. I'm
No,
sorry, guys.
Hey, guys, come on. Oh, come on.
Why are you going so easy on Antarctica? What have why you
they
saving
love
yourself?
us they love us in Antarctica.
Really?
They love us. We have listeners everywhere.
Oh, okay, I was going to say I just go off on Antarctica, man. Those down there.
Well, no, you don't want to go off on Antarctica because the penguin population, they're vindictive.
F them.
Yeah.
There's plenty of penguins. I don't need those emperor penguins with their god complex.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I heard they got tempers.
No, I'm a fan of. I'm going to say it. Look, I'm just going to say it right now, and I don't care who knows it. I prefer Galapagos penguins.
Galapagos penguins are better. You're right. I do agree with that. I think
plumage
that
is prettier.
The book that Kurt Vonnegut wrote about the penguins there was amazing. But really, this is about you, Travis.
Okay.
What's going on? What tell us about yourself?
For reals on the getting serious. I am a small town kid from Wisconsin though, and I grew up middle class, and I discovered that I wanted to be an actor when I was 14. I was acting in school plays and such all my life as long as I can remember, but it was 14 when I was a freshman in high school, and I was cast in a production of Godspell, and something clicked in me right there, and I realized that it's what I had to do with my life, and so I've been spending the last 20 years pursuing it.
So you're the salt of the earth, huh?
Mm-hmm. I hid my light under a bushel.
Doesn't have that much flavor.
Yeah, I am the light of the world. That everybody's gonna think, God, what a pompous thing for him to say. Those of you who have not seen Godspell, or I guess read Matthew.
When did you learn your British accent?
I don't know. I've always done accents, and I think that it started when I was a kid, and my comedy started when I was in like middle school, and I was not a popular kid. I was a nerd. I was an outcast. I was
join the club.
Yeah. So
definitely.
One of the nice things my parents did was allow me to stay up late on Saturdays watching Saturday Night Live. And I would watch the show and then bring all those characters, Dana Carvey and Mike Myers and all those characters into school with me the next week and entertain my friends.
Now, see, you're saying Dana Carvey's. My parents let me stay up to watch Saturday Night Live, and I did the same thing with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. I'm an old man.
Goodness, you're old.
I'm an old guy. I'm old. We talk about this.
I'm kind of more contemporary on your end, Travis. I think one of the ones I used to love is Mike Myers' Dieter vom Sprockets.
Oh, yeah. This is the time on Sprockets from Vidance.
Touch my monkey.
Touch him, love him. Come and ask him.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I always, and for British, it must have been like, well, my name is Simon.
Yeah.
And I like to
I like
do
to do
drawings.
Like to
But
see
they
my-
actually had a show in England about a kid named Simon who drew.
That's what I'm told. Yeah.
With a crayon. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Was that the cartoon where it was kind of like chalk drawn? It was kind of like on chalk.
His name was Simon. That's what it was about.
That's what we know.
That's what we know. We don't know.
Interesting enough, my parents let me stay up on Saturday nights. Now, they thought that PBS was safe because they had Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers and all that stuff, but they didn't realize that Saturday nights were the British comedies and the full
Monty
frontal
Python,
nudities.
the frontal
All
nudity.
that was going on Benny Hill. So.
Benny Hill. Yep, I was gonna say Benny Hill.
Benny Hill.
Oh, your parents.
I think they were asleep at the time I was watching that, so I'm like, I'm getting my education.
Yeah, I don't want to know what my parents were doing with the time I spent in front of the TV.
Okay. We're a
I'm
family
just,
show,
I just now realized what it probably was. Right now.
I'm not gonna let this go.
Doing
You guys are opening up windows into my childhood that I'm not sure I want to look through.
Okay.
Cannot unhear, cannot unhear.
So how long have you been a fan of Doctor Who?
Well, I used to watch. My brothers were 10 and 12 years older than I was, and so I remember back.
Oh, so I'm like contemporary to them.
Yeah, you're my brother's age probably. And when on PBS back in the early '80s, I'm 4 and 5 and 6 years old, and they're watching Tom Baker on PBS. So I was watching it back then. Now, what happened was when Tom Baker regenerated into Peter Davison, I kind of lost interest in the show, and I think it was because I didn't really get it. I didn't really understand why this person was now not there anymore. So but I was always surrounded by Doctor Who fans. Like I had a friend in middle school, like my locker partner in middle school had a TARDIS replica built in his spare bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah, and so my friends were always, hey, I can play the Doctor Who theme on my little Casio keyboard. And,
oh, nice!
I used to do that.
So stuff like that, and even though I was never huge into it, I got more into Star Trek and that kind of thing in those days. And then when the relaunch happened, I was aware of it, but not really watching it because I haven't had cable in my life for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got the Inspector-Spacetime audition, I knew, and I don't know how I did, but I knew enough about the relaunch to know that the character they were referencing in the community script, was Matt Smith, because they mentioned a bow tie, and I knew enough about it to know that bow ties were cool. And so I went then and watched Matt Smith's first episode on Netflix because it had just gone up on Netflix that summer.
Uh-huh.
And then I got the role, and then went back and watched everything from Chris Eccleston on, and including Torchwood. And then I watched it again because it was so good, and because I'd gone through it so fast.
Right.
That's what it was for me.
Travis, if it makes you feel better, I grew up with Tom Baker watching on PBS, but my PBS station would not buy Doctor Who after Tom Baker, so they kept repeating the series. So I thought that was it. I thought Tom Baker was the whole series, and then all of a sudden the next Castrovalva came in. I'm like, what? I never even understood that series continued on before and after. So
I think when I
you thought he died from falling. The show ended when the Doctor fell from the Ferris Project. That was it. You thought?
Well, thanks
the
to
Doctor
PBS,
lost?
that's what I thought, because they didn't bother buying the Peter Davidson series yet. So for 3 years straight,
so it was an unhappy ending.
It was an unhappy
Doctor
ending.
had an unhappy ending.
No, well, actually, no. Well, no. Remember, it's not an unhappy ending because the episode ends with him regenerating into Davidson.
Yeah, but what is that? He didn't know what that was.
Well, no, but it still seems like a happy ending because he's alive. You just don't understand what you just watched.
Adric was there. It wasn't a happy fella.
Oh, will you stop? Why do you diss on poor Adric? Poor kid, man. He died saving the world. Jeez.
All I knew is that there were boobies after 9 o'clock, so I was ahead.
Yeah, no, I grew up. I remember growing up in the age of early cable when those channels were scrambled.
Mm.
So you had the audio.
Yeah.
You had the audio and the
Those
occasional.
channels.
And you have ghost images of people
exactly.
bodies.
Like
family show,
some
guys.
yeah.
Family show.
I think I saw a side boob.
Exactly.
Just had a really good imagination watching.
Sure, and you don't need much more than that when you're a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
There you go.
So do you
Here comes-
consider Tom Baker to be your doctor, or do you consider...
He was my first. I'm not sure that he is my favorite anymore. I as an actor and as a viewer, I just adored what David Tennant did with the role, and I think that it was just, I mean, he was the Doctor. Like, there's a thing that I get that when I'm watching other actors act, and I can give you some examples, but it's this idea that there's a difference between being a character and playing a character, and I felt that David Tennant was the Doctor, and then when Matt Smith came on, he was kind of playing the Doctor for a while. It's the same way that when Johnny Depp did Pirates, the first one, he was Captain Jack. I mean, it was this great. But then in the other ones, he kind of played Captain Jack.
Yeah.
Because it was like he didn't know that the first one was gonna take off and be huge.
Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say why it happens. Christian Bale did the same thing with Batman. Like, the first one, it was brilliant, and then the second and third one, he just kind of was playing the role as he thought he had done it. I don't know.
Right.
I heard he smoked 17 cigarettes a day to get that voice for Batman.
Oh,
Probably, they probably had a special stagehand full of like throat lozenges. Christian Bale needs a lozenge. Get him a lozenge.
Yeah.
Now, how has the Inspector changed your life?
Oh, geez, in so many ways. I mean, you have to remember that in Community, it was a one-day shoot. We were in and out in a few hours. It was all green screened, and the total duration of it in the show is like 15 seconds. But fans built that into something bigger. And I mean, I guess I'll take a little credit because me and my writing partner were aware enough that it was something that could be more, and how to do it more, how to do more of it in a way that was not cheesy and something that people would actually enjoy. But yeah, it's, going to conventions. I've been flown around the country to Minneapolis and St. Louis and Cincinnati, and I went to Paris last fall for a film festival that we were invited to because of the web series. We didn't even submit to it. They just emailed us and said, "Hey, would you like to come to Marseille? And we'll fly you out."
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
And actually, because of that trip is when I met. Sylvester McCoy in London, and we had tea and talked about the series. And it was a little bit after that he decided to come on board. I mean, and talk about that, being able to work with Sylvester McCoy and Robert Picardo, who being a Star Trek fan was huge for me.
Right there.
Right, and I mean, Mayim Bialik, who I used to watch as a kid on Blossom, she's who is also, by the way, a doctor
Amy
in real life
Fowler as
and
well.
in the show. Yeah. So
real life, she's a doctor, Mark.
Yeah, I know. She plays her character is the same kind of doctor that she is in real life.
Right, trippy, huh?
Yeah.
And then Chase Masterson, who is amazing, and I met her at a convention at Gallifrey One, which I only went to because I was, got this role, and I was so lucky to just get this role in the first place. So I do recognize that I'm incredibly fortunate for what success I've had. And I do give myself some credit for being, what they say is there's an old adage that says success is luck mixed with preparedness, and I was prepared enough to take advantage of the luck that I got.
If I can, Travis, if you don't mind, I have a question to ask you that's kind of sort of a personal nature.
Sure, just ask.
One of my favorite of the Inspector Spacetime appearances on Community. My favorite was the Christmas episode where Abed watches the Inspector Spacetime holiday special.
Yes, Happy Time Day.
Yeah, Happy Time Day. And the joke, it was so horrible. The creator had his knighthood revoked.
Oh, just like Star Wars. That's great.
Yeah, but Lucas wishes he could get a knighthood. Yeah, I went there. That's one of my favorite of the Inspector Spacetime appearances. But yeah, the Time Day gift was a little holographic band.
Yep.
Did you get a chance to meet the band?
No.
One of the guys I worked with, one of the guys I've worked with, I'm an actor myself. One of the guys I've worked with played a musician on the band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's very cool. No, it was my stuff was all green screened each time, and so we had in the first episode. So we did 3 episodes. The season premiere for season 3, and then
Biology
we did
101.
Chaos Theory episode, which they didn't actually show our clip, which is too bad because it's actually I think the funniest clip. And that one was actually the one that was written by Chris McKenna and filmed. I mean, it was directed by the Russo brothers, Anthony Russo, who, because the first one we did was just second unit. So it was just a guy who was bought in to shoot some of the green screen stuff. The second episode was done by Anthony Russo, and Chris McKenna was there, and we had a chance to talk, and that was really neat. And then the third episode was just the third part, and I think that was maybe another second unit group. But no, it was all, so the only people there were me and Constable Reggie and the, whoever was directing that section, and of course the crew, camera ops and stuff like that.
And then of course you got replaced by Luke Perry. So that was sad.
Yeah.
That was
and
sad.
the guy who played the first inspector, which was kind of all of that. All that season 4 stuff was kind of, I don't know. I feel like they went easy.
Mm-hmm.
They went with the easy jokes for that,
right?
Instead of, I don't know. Like, I don't understand why First of all, there are 2 things I don't understand.
Okay.
Why all of the inspector's associates are constables? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
And also why they had the first inspector, wear my costume.
That's a good point.
So he never changes clothes?
Yeah,
ever?
well, yeah, that's a very good point.
Here's now, actually, since you mentioned since we did the joke with, Luke Perry as an American, as like an American version of the inspector.
Yeah.
What do you think about the idea? What do you think about the idea of maybe somebody like, I don't know, Warner Brothers or Disney or something thinking, hey, let's do a Doctor Who movie. Let's do our own project. I mean, would you be behind it, or would you be kind of like, no, it has to stay with the Brits?
Well, I feel like the people who are entrusted with the character have done a good job with it and really care about it. And there's always the why question. Why are you doing this? Are you doing it because you think it'll make money, or are you doing this because you have a story that needs to be told in a grander scale? And I think they've proven, the BBC has proven that they can tell really grand stories. I mean, you look at the Stolen Earth episodes, and that series was really, it felt important, and it felt big, and it felt that scene where Rory goes in and threatens the Cybermen. That's amazing. It gives you chills. Could you do anything better with a movie? I don't know. And so it's one of those things where I'd have to wait and see, and I'd have to know more about it. I don't know.
Yeah, but speaking of movies, now you've done your web version of Inspector Spacetime called Untitled Web Series about a space traveler who can also travel through time.
Well done.
And now you're doing, instead of doing season 2 of this, you've changed it, and it's now the Inspector Chronicles Untitled Web Series about a space traveler who can also travel through time.
Untitled motion picture.
It's Untitled motion picture. That's right,
added,
it would be motion picture. It would
right,
be motion
the
picture.
reason we added the Inspector Chronicles is because we have a plan to do all sorts of different things. So it's not just going to be a web series. It's going to be a motion picture, and it's going to be a comic book, and it's going to be a video game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wow. So we have a bunch of different things, and we wanted to have a unifying name for it all. So that's why we added the Inspector Chronicles at the beginning.
I just hope nobody charges you by the letter. That's really going to stick.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Digital,
Inspector
baby.
Chronicles is easier to say too.
Yeah, and there's no reason anyone else can't call it Inspector Spacetime, because everyone knows that if there were to be an Inspector Spacetime show starring me, Inspector Spacetime's Travis Richey, that it would be this. So I just can't do it. That's all.
Right. But is it going to be? Are you going to release it in the movie theaters, or is it going to be on the web? Is it going to be DVD?
It's way too early to tell about distribution.
Right.
We have some talks, but video on demand is going to be the easiest way for us to distribute. But we've gotten some interest for theatrical distribution, and because in the last few years theaters have finally en masse started to convert to digital distribution methods, and projection and that. it's quite possible that we'll have theatrical distribution on some level.
I gotta say
Go
something
ahead.
on the side plan. I simply adored the interview with Linda Lee.
Oh, isn't she amazing?
That was
that
just
was amazing.
adorable. And Eric, kudos to you. And when she said, is Billy D-E-A-D?
Piper really deep.
Piper? I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, she's so cute.
She is. She's adorable. I met her at Gallifrey again, and she told me a secret that was it just melted my heart a little bit. So can't tell you though, because it's
what's a secret? Yeah,
can't tell you.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be a secret then.
It would be a spoiler too if it had something to do with something going on soon.
It doesn't, but it's
so it is just a secret, not a spoiler.
Yeah. So I mean,
so there is a difference, fans. There is a difference between a secret and a spoiler.
Right.
You've learned it here first on Mark 42's universe.
And
Really?
you worked on a project called Toon Crash.
Oh yeah, we did. Oh God, Toon Crash was so long in the making. We shot our live action bits for that back when we shot season 1. So almost 2 years ago, we shot those scenes with me and Piper, and it took that long for us to get everything done for Toon Crash. But yeah, it turned out great, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Oh yeah,
Turned out awesome. Dr. Stu and the Inspector. Where else can you go?
Well,
that
it was
should be
so funny
that should be a
because
movie.
I was watching Dr. Stu because of the BBC website, and BBC actually shared our show a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I mean that's cool because it's like, hey, well, obviously they're on board because they, if they like us. So and I think that's the thing too, is people sometimes don't realize. I mean, rarely, but they don't realize that Inspector Spacetime is a project of love from Doctor Who fans. It's not like trying to replace Doctor Who or trying to make fun of Doctor Who or
exactly.
It's really just a labor of love.
An homage. Yeah.
Exactly. But the Toon Crash stuff, it was cool because Dr. Stu had been through something very similar to what we went through, where we had to change the look of the character and that kind of thing in order to avoid copyright stuff.
Right.
So,
you've got certain things that you had to change from the community. Like instead of being you traveling in the X7 Dimensionizer time booth, you now travel in the booth.
Well, and to be fair, the booth was something that we came up with all of that way before season 4 of Community. Season 4 changed some stuff, and actually, I guess the Dimensionizer came through in season 3.
Yeah.
But that also was the idea with. And here was my logic with that. My thought was, and that was where they had Constable Geneva or temporary Constable Geneva, and my thought was that at that point that the inspector, the fans had said that the inspector has associates, and that's who he travels with, and they had named all of his associates, and they were just different kinds of people. And the idea that every one of them was a constable came about not from the canon of Inspector Spacetime, but from Abed's not really being familiar with the show. And so my thought was that he invented the character of temporary Constable Geneva in order for Annie to be able to play with him.
Right.
And it was and maybe he didn't understand that the inspector didn't travel in a spaceship, and which I don't know where that came from, but it seems weird. But so that kind of stuff. I was able to forgive a lot for Abed's misinterpretation of the canon, rather than the actual canon as it exists. But anyway, the booth was an invention of fans too. So it was called the Darset, and that was shot down by a bunch of people.
What did that stand for?
I don't know, but it was it was clearly just a rearranging of the letters of TARDIS, and so we
they've already done that with Sid Rad in the War Games.
Oh really? Well,
Patrick Trout
and Astrid.
And it was so
Astrid. That's good, Astrid.
Oh yeah, good one. But yeah, it was just not an original enough idea, I guess. So we encouraged the fans to think deeper, and then came up with Booth, which was cool. And the backstory on that is that the Booth has always looked like it does, and it's just that when Brits were designing a public place for people to make phone calls, they copied the look of the booth in order to pay respect to the inspector for all the times that he had saved the Earth. And when they had to name it, they called it a phone booth after the inspector's time machine.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Now, okay, we just mentioned Dr. Stu.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with other parodies and homages to the Doctor? Like,
sure. Well, I watched Dr. Puppet and.
Right. Well, no, are you familiar with the one that Marvel Comics did that we mentioned on the podcast like a few episodes ago?
Oh yeah.
No,
Professor Gamble.
not you, Mark.
Well,
him.
I'm trying to help him because I don't think he knows.
No, I don't think I know of it. What was it called?
Yeah, no, he was called. It was back in the '80s in the Power Man and Iron Fist comic series. They had an homage to Doctor Who called Professor Alphonse T. Gamble.
Oh, okay.
Complete with traveling house that was bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
Oh, neat. The booth is actually interesting too because it's not bigger on the inside.
No, it's not. It looks pretty small. It looks smaller on the inside, but I guess.
Well, it is always slightly too small for however many occupants are inside. But there is always space for one more.
Gotcha.
So it can adjust its size to be infinitely large theoretically, but it is always slightly too small for the number of people that are inside, which I love. And fans did that, and there's a reason for it, because the friendships formed in the booth are literally and figuratively the closest friends.
Oh. So you have no hearts? Is that what I is?
Yeah, the inspector has no hearts. We haven't kind of figured that out yet. We suspect that maybe he has some sort of jelly filling that is like it's insect-like in its composition, but we don't know.
Speaking of a few podcasts ago, Mark and I had the fortune passing to go to Hurricane Who to meet Tony Lee. And I noticed that he is doing something for you for the inspector.
Well, Tony and I have been chatting for for a long time because he is actually responsible for the very first Inspector-Spacetime panel at Chicago TARDIS in Thanksgiving of 2011, and I did a video greeting for that, and from that, became familiar with Tony, and we started chatting, and we've met a couple times. We met at Gallifrey then, and it's probably because of Tony that I got connected with the guys at Gallifrey and had that very first panel, which launched our series. Tony then announced he wanted to be in the panel this last month, and he surprised us by announcing that he was writing the untitled comic book about a space traveler who can also travel through time. Right. So that's very exciting.
Why don't you let everyone know about your web presence?
Well, it's easy to find. You can find pretty much everything you need at theinspector.tv. Right on that first splash page, there's you can find a link to our Indiegogo campaign. You can find a link to our Facebook and Twitter, and sign up for our newsletters. You can get all the news that you need when we put out press releases. And then from there, you can click on the poster and see all the episodes and see some information about the cast and crew and stuff like that. But our Facebook page is where I spend most of my time talking to fans and putting up pictures and stuff like that. So
yeah, I want to thank you for sharing our promo for you and this podcast on your page.
Oh yeah, it was cool.
So on the Indiegogo, it's kind of like Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, it's the crowdsourcing model where you have perks and prizes, so you can get stuff from there that are very, like, you can get an optic pocket knife of your own. We've already got 2 people who have claimed those, and you can get into the comic book. You can get signed posters, and that includes our guest stars. Like, I think it's at the $250 level. You get, in addition to a bunch of other stuff, you get a signed cast photo, which includes Robert Picardo and Sylvester McCoy and Chase Masterson, and it's like, in order to get that at a convention, you'd be spending $40 a piece anyway. Yeah. So I feel like that's a pretty good deal.
Oh, by the way, your check for $1,000 is in the mail for doing this call.
Awesome.
Yeah, right. I'm sure our budget would allow that. I'm sure our budget.
In fact, I think the 4 of us should be a cameo of constables walking in the background.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that's interesting is that Indiegogo is different because you can track referrals. And so if you log into Indiegogo, if you look at the campaign, when you're logged in, it'll give you a personalized referral link. And if you share that and people follow that to the campaign and give money,
right,
I can track how many people and how much donations you refer to us, basically. And so we have a contest going right now where if you whoever refers the most amount of donations gets the perk equal to that. So if you had like 1,000 fans who gave $5 each, then you would end up getting producer credit and an optic pocket knife, and you're in the comic book and all those things.
Wow.
Well, I think we have some work to do.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing, and a way that I really like the ability to give something to people who can't afford to give themselves, because I recognize, I'm a poor actor too, so I get not being able to afford a lot. Personally, I always
join the club.
$5, yeah. Personally, I always make it a point to give $5 to my friends' campaigns because everybody can afford $5, but that doesn't seem to be a prevailing thing.
Right.
I don't know why that is, but it is.
Christian, you had a question, a very important question. I think it was the last one you had to ask.
Oh, yeah. Is it flee or fled?
It depends on the usage, but flee faster than you've ever fled.
So
is correct.
So I wouldn't flew, I would fled.
Yes, you flew out the coop.
So he hasn't flown. He flew.
Well,
I thought the flea was on a dog.
You flew if you left the ground, I suppose.
No, a flea is on a dog.
Flew is the past of fly, but flee is fled.
Okay.
It's not this.
Did everybody get that?
Everyone get that. So
There's a
they
test
have
now.
the PSAT tomorrow when they all right. We've been talking for 35 minutes. It's gonna probably be 5 minutes. No, it won't.
Sure, of course. all that junk. Just cut out everything I say because.
Make it easy.
Oh,
No. Actually, we leave your stuff in. You're the draw for this episode.
I get that editing thing because I've been making these frequently asked question blogs because people have questions about the campaign, and I want to make sure we're as transparent as possible. So I've been trying to answer these questions. Some of them get pretty serious. A guy in the last one says something like, I don't see how you can possibly do this. But I originally was going to try to do these every day, but I can't not edit my videos. Like I have to put in graphics, and I have to cut out the boring bits, and I have to edit for time. And it's like, but it takes me then hours to finish these videos, and then
podcast for every
Travis,
hour podcast. I'm editing for at least 3 hours.
Oh yeah, no, I used to do a podcast too. I did a podcast called Boy Cow Radio a few years ago. That
nice.
You can still find it. I think we're on iTunes now actually, and we did some new episodes. We had Chase Masterson on an episode. We had Len Wein, who is the guy who created Wolverine.
I know Len Wein.
Yeah, we chatted with him for like an hour. But yeah, the same thing. Like I would record those podcasts and spend hours editing them down to make them, to edit the pace and make sure they were interesting. And that when I first started them, I would be putting in graphics because I thought, hey, maybe people will watch these on their iPod videos.
Yeah.
Which was a new thing at the time. Oh.
Now I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true, and this is just flying around on the internet right now. Series 3. You got some big names going. You have Eduardo-m-Freyre, you have Mark-Baumgarten, and you have Trish-helm, and you have Christian-basel as the voice of Evil Booth, which is Booth with a mustache.
Booth with a mustache.
Yeah, Evil Twin Booth.
I went to London. When I went there last fall, and they have phone booths that are not just the red ones, which they have for real, but they also have these dark gray ones. Do you know about these? Anybody?
They're evil.
Oh.
That's what I said. I looked at them, and it's obviously the evil inspector's booth.
Oh.
And so we decided we have to use that. Okay. Well, but the evil inspector doesn't have a mustache, and we may change that. I don't know. He may have to find his own identity or something like that. Now that when we come back to them, and we are coming back to deal with the evil inspector that we created.
Yeah, I would hope so, because otherwise,
well,
you know what? Then again, I was watching season 1 in the 6 parts, and I love the fact that when the announcer at the end of each episode is going through the plot points, leaving all these holes. It was just like old Doctor Who. It was great.
Well, and it's important to let people know that you're aware of all the plot holes that you're doing. And
I love
so
you pointing them out. It was
I liked that guy. I liked my favorite question was 2 inspectors. What?
It's funny. It's funny that you bring that up. I mean, would you ever do like a multi-inspector episode?
Oh my.
Another one?
Yeah.
No. He means multi, not as in two of the same.
Oh,
evil.
you mean seeing the previous inspectors?
Yeah.
Right. Or even pulling what the 50th anniversary Day of the Doctor special did and having sneak preview of the new one or something like that.
Well, we actually talked about we talked a little bit about this at Gallifrey at the panel, which is online if you want to watch the whole thing. But we do have a plan to meet a future version of the Inspector in the next iteration of the series. So if it's the next movie or the next, if it becomes a web series again or whatever, the next story essentially has a meeting with the future Inspector.
Cool.
And this is going to be more than just a pair of eyes.
Yes, it's actually
that's got to be done.
He's involved in the plot, and it's actually a really good story. I hope we can get a really good actor for it. It's something that I have to give credit as often as I can to my co-writer Eric Aloya, who he plays Boyish the Extraordinary. He's a brilliant writer. He understands structure, story structure, and character arcs and stuff like that very well, which helps when we're writing. So that when he hands me usually a first draft of a script, it's already a diamond. It's like pulling a diamond out of the ground, and then we just have to cut and polish it. So it's great working with him, and I'm lucky to have him.
Nice.
I'm saying in the next series, since you didn't have an evil Piper comes in with a mustache.
Evil Piper.
I'm just saying.
Well,
give up the mustache, will you?
That's what all the alternate universes are doing these days.
There's also something about eye patches. Maybe the evil Piper can come in. She could have like the mustache, and then she'd be holding the eye patch and going, "What do you think looks better?"
Maybe she has an eye patch and she's not evil. Here's the thing: we don't. We if you look at our stuff, one of the things that you'll see is that we are not simple. We don't like to do the easy thing.
Right.
We always try to look deeper at something, and I think when you see the story behind season 2 is so amazing because a lot of it has to do with So now we've got this good clone of Boyish, and so it's good Boyish, and he is essentially now he's one of the Inspector's associates. He's traveling with the Inspector now, and a big plot element of season 2 or the movie now is he really good? And so is just because he's a good clone, does that make him a good person? We go deeper into character and stuff like that. It's so okay. And we do have a plan for Piper actually, or at least for Carrie. It might not be Piper herself, but Carrie will be back.
Okay, that's excellent news. Does anyone else have any other questions? Because we're running out of time here.
I loved
digital.
Yeah,
it's digital, Mark.
Hard drive space.
I loved the circuit chaps.
Oh, the circuit chaps.
Circuit chaps are great.
Those are awesome.
Are you gonna have any other do you have like a Dalek?
Well, they have
parody?
the Blorgons on.
Well, the Blorgons exist, and we mention them in the movie, but we do see a bunch of the other villains from the Inspector. So we see the Snarling Lions. The Circuit Chaps come back for a bit. We see the Contrary Canaries, which are the most adorable thorns in the Inspector's side. We see, we don't see the Invisibleaters. So, and a lot of those are fan inventions, but a lot of them are also inventions of ours. So we also have a fun thing too, where I love the idea that we have this kind of recursive creativity with fans. And so there was this one thing that we did where a website did a story on us. I think it was nerdbastards.com did a story on us way back, and they misspelled my name. So they told people to follow Tarvis on Twitter. And and so I posted it to the Facebook page and said, "Hey guys, this is a great article. Could use some editing." And then in parentheses, I put "follow Tarvis." And then in the comments of that post, people started going off on "follow Tarvis" and creating this little mini meme about it. And then before long, people had posted there was this the image that went up that said, "Keep calm and follow Tarvis." And then someone created a page on the Inspector-Spacetime wiki for a character named Tarvis, who was a mechanical flying squirrel that leads the inspector to safety when he's in danger. And his catchphrase is, "Follow Tarvis!" And we just happened to be in a rewrite phase for at the time for season 2, and so we wrote Tarvis into the show, and so now Tarvis is going to be in the movie.
Wow.
So it's stuff like that. And, like the circuit chaps themselves were an invention of fans, and we had an actual, like when I went to a guy to build the circuit chap for us, I didn't. The only thing actually that I told him was what the head needed to look like, because I wanted to make a callback to a robot costume that we made in my first web series called Robot Ninja and Gay Guy. If you haven't seen that, it's great. In Halloween episode, Gay Guy builds a robot costume because Robot looks human, because we didn't have any budget. So, and Robot won't put it on because he says he looks exactly like a robot because he is a robot. And so I wanted the circuit chaps to look, I just wanted the head to look like that, but the rest of it I left up in the air. And so the guy built it. And if you look at the circuit chaps, like they've got a little metal bow tie on, and they're great. So, and that was just a guy who built that for us.
Little metal bow tie. That sounds like a great name for a metal album.
It does,
Right?
doesn't it?
So, Mark, we've been doing our campaigns wrong. We should change our name to Morph42.
Yeah, that's going to happen. Travis, thank you very much for stopping by and coming.
My
to our
pleasure,
show.
guys. It's wonderful to chat with you.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Like to once again mention Travis Richey of The Inspector. His webpage is theinspector.tv. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
That is right. And you should pay money for his Indiegogo campaign to make this motion picture a reality, because it's not paid for yet, right?
No, it's not.
When is the deadline? Because I noticed it said how many days were left in the campaign.
29,
Yeah,
I think.
so now I think we're like 20 some odd days out. The 29th is when it ends. So
March
when...
29th.
Yeah.
Yeah, March 29th is the end of the campaign.
Yeah,
End of
and
this
so
month.
you get yourself
End
some
of this
good-
month.
End of this month, and so you can get yourself some good prizes. We have perks. We just released a couple of perks available at the $5 level, where we made an Inspector-Spacetime ringtone that we'll send you, and also we found Carrie Karenan's original audition tapes for Piper Tate, and we put those up, and so you get access to that if you give $5. And then if you want to give more, we have even cooler stuff at the higher levels. So check it out.
All right, and don't forget to check us out, MarkWho42. You can tweet us at MarkWho42. You can go to our Facebook page, MarkWho42's Hooniverse. You can listen to us on iTunes, on Stitcher Radio. You can listen to us on FloridaGeekScene.com, Geekcast Radio Network. I hope you guys voted for our podcast, because that's over. We're going to find out hopefully by next week if we won Best Podcast.
Mark.
Yes.
Shouldn't we also remind the audience about what's going on with our next episode?
Oh, that's right. Our next episode. You know, Travis, you just missed out. This is our 49th episode.
Oh, no.
You missed the 50th anniversary.
Oh, well, everyone knows the 49th is the important one.
That's right. It's the penultimate. It's the penultimate episode before the 50th anniversary.
50th episode. And should we and I guess it should remind, hey, we're going to be recording the 50th episode probably in about a week's time. So, if there's any memories that you'd like to share about the first 50 episodes of Mark Who 42, or anything that's happened in that time frame, like if it's about meeting us at Hurricane Who or SuperCon or the weekend TARDIS meeting, hey, let us know.
Or on our
I have
Facebook
a memory.
Okay.
I remember the first time that I chatted with you guys. It was a rainy day here in LA.
Oh yeah.
About I don't know, about an hour ago, and I have to say it was really awkward at first because we didn't know each other. But pretty soon we started to click and chat, and by the end of the talk, it was really cool, and we were all good friends, and we might not see each other or talk to each other very often, but we'll always be in each other's lives.
Well, see, there you go. There you go. We have an example. We have an example. Thanks to thank you, Travis, for giving.
And if you can just add the theme song to Dawson's Creek
there. It's there. You're listening.
I don't think you want any of us, Travis. I don't think you want any of us in the background singing. I don't want to wait forever.
Oh no!
I don't think you want that. I don't
put that in.
It's there.
I'm stealing the tagline from Travis. Mark Who 42. We go deeper.
Oh no! Oh no!
Nice.
So until next time, our 50th. What?
We lost another continent. We're down to 5 now. And I don't know which ones they are.
As long
I
as
was offended by that.
They're gone.
Penguins.
Oh no!
No!
Our first attack of the show.
Penguins.
Our first
Come back,
beep.
penguins.
Our first beep.
I dropped the F-bomb twice on your show.
I know. I heard it before. I was trying to ignore it because I'm gonna have to take care of it later.
Oh really? Are we a F-bomb free?
We're not. Yeah. I purposely don't have an explicit tag on the show.
I used to allow one F-bomb on my podcast because we were PG-13, and I think that's the rules that they have.
So we might get away with one, but you did two.
I did too. You're gonna have to bleep one of them out.
One of them has to come out. Yeah. So
this is like Transformers the movie all over again. It gets a change in rating.
Wow, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, it was a bit harsh. We do have to punish our guest, Travis, because you dropped the F-bomb twice on our show.
Yep.
You have to say goodbye to everyone and tell them to come back next week as Inspector-Spacetime.
All right. Farewell, dear listeners. And if you know what's good for you, you'll come back next week to hear the podcast because we've got important news on how you can escape the end of the earth. But you don't get to hear it until next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Mark Who 42's Hooniverse has been written and presented by Mark Baumgarten, Trish-helm, Eduardo-m-Freyre, and Christian-basel. We'd like to thank our special guest, Travis Richey, the inspector himself, for being on the show. This show was edited, produced, and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Please remember to rate us and listen to us on iTunes, the Stitcher Radio app, World of Who, and the Podkeeper app, and comment on our broadcast at geekcastradio.com and floridageekscene.com. Tweet us at MarkWho42, and check out our Facebook page, Mark Who 42's Universe. We can be contacted by email at mark@markwho42.com with the subject line, ? Doctor Who and its properties are owned by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation. This podcast is streaming from markwho42.com. This podcast is owned and copyrighted by Mark Baumgarten 2014. Join us next time for our 50th episode. Same space channel, same space time.